Alright, today I am working on a gift for Darkzephyr. This is something that I put together a long time ago for her. It was the very first Kinosian cottage that I loaded, other than my own, actually. She wanted it in the Storm Tower zone instead of in the Panda Enclave. So it took a little bit of doing to get it here. I actually, when I recreated the Kinosian cottage from the first version that I did, I deliberately created it with this location in mind. So you can see I have the windows facing out over the water. And then this side, it actually doesn't have the windows facing out over the water because there's all that ground over there. So I had to flip the two wings of the house around because originally the kitchen was on this side and the living room was on this side. And both Darkzephyr and I liked the view out this way better, especially since there's the beach down there. So I had to flip the entire house around in order to have that happen. So this is probably the only version of the Kinosian riverfront property that you can fly up and see the top of. But this is not the Kinosian riverfront property. This is the Kinosian Seaside Cottage because it's by the ocean, and it just didn't make sense to call it a riverfront property when it's not. So, what I'm doing here is that I've been intending for a long time now to create a fireplace for this house. Ever since they added, or excuse me, not added, but switched the item count for building blocks to be a separate count, that meant that this house has suddenly a whole bunch of space free. You probably can't see it because it's kind of tiny here, but this actually says there's only 347 out of 1,200 counted items and 711 out of 1,200 building blocks. So I have a whole lot of space to play with that I did not have before. And one of the first things I wanted to do was to build a fireplace because I felt that, cozy cottage, even if it's got 2 stories on one side, a cozy cottage needs a fireplace. I originally wanted to build a fireplace in the Kinosian riverfront, but that didn't happen because of the item count restrictions, and now that they have been lifted, this is something that I'm going to be doing for her. I may even do it to my original one. Ooh, have to fix that. Those are floating. I'm not sure why they're floating, or why half of them are floating, but that's a pretty easy fix, so I'll do that later. I must have tweaked something to do with this, and I just don't remember it. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is the usual drag and drop the items that I'm going to be building with onto the bar so that I can then click my hot button and place the tile. And there's only 15 of them, so I'm not actually going to load the layout editor to do this part. Usually I would use the layout editor to pack them in the moving crate, but since I only had enough sandpaper on me to make 15, I figured I'd start with 15 and see how far that got me as far as the fireplace. It would give me a good idea of how many I would need total. So there are going to be some issues with the fireplace that I need to work out. as you can see here, the space is, the railings are nicely aligned. Sorry, I'm a little tired if you can't tell from my voice, and a little bit sick, so my memory is worse than usual. Anyway, the railings here are nicely aligned, so they'll just butt up right against the fireplace. But up here, it doesn't look quite as good because they're not lined up, and I don't think I can just lower them because I think that they have to be that high in order to, and it wouldn't look good anyway to just have a random triangle right there that's not attached to anything. So I'm either going to have to put a horizontal railing back right here, or I'm going to have to figure out some other design that will make it look good in this area. I may have to just extend these down and have them touch the top of the fireplace. We'll see. So the first thing I need to do is save a layout file. So I have this to work with, so save layout with, then go to the layout editor, file, open with. It's a good thing there aren't too many items in the moving crate, so I can just go find my plain fulgurant tiles. And actually, I need to know the location of this tile right here. Usually it would be pretty easy because I would have been packing them in the crate as I worked on them, but I actually started this change, I don't know, 6 months ago and got distracted with other stuff and totally forgot I'd ripped a hole in her house, which is kind of sad because this is her sales house and she was nice enough to put a little thank you to me right there. So visitors have been seeing a giant hole in her home, and that was not good of me. But, you know, I forgot, and she was too nice to remind me, so now I remember, and I can finish working on this. So, I don't actually know what the location of this area is, so I did my width. I'm going to pack this. I'm going to lag, apparently. I'm going to pack it in the moving crate, then do without. Go to the layout editor, go main, hit diff, it's on the without file, so it's good, hit run. So now we have the location of that snowy square as well as the scale. So I'm going to go back to the moving crate and the plain fulgurant tile, add it to the group. I'm going to copy the snowy square's location and paste right there. I actually am going to leave this tile out of the build because I think I want to, well, I'm looking at it, and if you've ever looked at, let me Google an image here so that I can show it to you guys. So let's see, Google image fireplace exterior. Oh dear, I'm getting outdoor fireplaces. That was a mistake. I want the chimney, not the fireplace. So chimney exterior. Okay, so this is a nice picture. I think. If it'll load. No, it's apparently not loading. Alright, so we'll go look for another one. Looking for a nice big image here so I can show it to you guys. This one's nice and big. Wow. Either my internet or Google is having some serious issues because there we go. So drag the page over so you can see it. This is kind of what I'm looking at right here. How it comes up into the narrower chimney. I'm sure it has a name, but it's escaping me at the moment. So the issue here is, how high up do I want that to happen? You know, do I want it to happen down here at the bottom? So do I want it to happen before it hits there? I think that's a little low now that I'm looking at it. So at least up here, so yeah, I can leave out the white tile. But I'm looking at this and realizing I might be able to put a second fireplace in the bedroom. So let's go upstairs and see where that would run into the wall. So that means the desk needs to move over, and that's actually not bad. I can do that. There's plenty of space here. I might have to rearrange the furniture a little bit, but that would actually look pretty nice to have a cozy little fireplace in the bedroom too. And it makes logical sense. So down here, I guess that means we also don't need this tile. And that sort of fixes the problem I was having with the oh shoot, no it doesn't, because look, this right here doesn't actually extend all the way in. So I'll have to fix that some other way. And let's pack, sorry, having my character in the view. Let's pack this one in the moving crate. What is going, oh, okay. I had to do some funky things to get the room lined up properly. So, wow, I'm gonna have to get rid of this white tile too in order to actually have a fireplace here. Don't mind the trustee messages. That's for, oh dear. That's for the Secret Santa Holiday House Swap. If you haven't visited it already, we're going to be doing a Secret Santa Holiday House Swap where people will grant us trustee access to their homes, empty homes, and from there we will assign a Secret Santa to decorate their house for them. At the same time as their house is being decorated, they will be decorating someone else's house as a Secret Santa. So everyone has to set their house name to the same thing so that nobody knows whose house you're in. And I just lost my train of thought. Yay for being tired. Let's see. Everybody has to set their house name to the same thing. And everyone will have about 27 days to complete the houses. It's just a little bit of a fun thing, so that, you know, you can get a gift for the holiday and give a gift for the holiday to someone else without having to spend any real life money, or, you know, it's just a way that we can make sure that everyone's holiday is enjoyable. The nice thing about the Secret Santa is, because it's based on an EQ2 holiday, Frostfell. It's not actually Christmas, it's Frostfell. It's for everyone to celebrate. So it doesn't matter if you celebrate Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or, I don't know, the Flying Spaghetti Monsters second anniversary of his second spaghetti noodle. You can join in and have fun. It was a great success last year, and really hope that as many people as possible will join in for the event this year. So that's, let me type it out so it shows up above Jazabelle's head so you can see it. But it's, the URL is http://bit.ly, that's bit.ly, /SSHHS 2014 for 2014. Makes sense, right? Secret Santa, holiday house swap, 2014. If you don't want to visit the bit.ly link, you can just go to the EverQuest 2 forums and the Home Show forum there, and the post detailing it and the sign-ups are all there. And it's really weird how the house is reflecting on that water. Maybe I should, I don't know. And I'm sure it's my settings, but that's just really weird. Okay, so back to building the fireplace. Looking at this, it looks like the one in the bedroom is, wow, what did I do in here? Oh dear, okay. Alright, so I'm going to have to fix that too for the... Alright, I'm just talking to myself here. It looks like I cheated and did a really big tiles right here. And that's not going to work for this. I'm going to have to do smaller tiles and overlay the whole thing. Did I have extra tiles in here, or is this actually a tile downstairs? Oh, okay, it is a tile downstairs. You can just see it just a tiny bit. Alright, so, oh, easy doorway access. Okay, so we'll go back in here, and I think I'll clean up a few spots. Like, if you're me, the things that really caught my eye immediately were right here. You can sort of see, let me zoom in all the way so we don't have the distraction of the wings. You can see the divide between the two tiles. And the divide on the railing, on the one hand, yes, you can see it, but on the other hand, you can really only see it when you're above it. Okay, I guess the same could be said for that tile right there. That kind of... Alright, I guess I'll be ignoring that after all and focusing on other stuff. But this right here, I really don't like how... I don't even know why there's... I wish that you could click stuff while you're flying. Okay. Open the door. Select. Oh, right. I'm flying. Can't select it. Select. Click move just so I can see. Oh. Okay, so it's overlapping. So I think I can just... There's enough space here that I could lower it so that it's not overlapping like that, so I can lower it so it's like that, except I will do it with the layout editor so it's perfect. I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place. I think I was trying to make everything perfectly neat and line up along here, and that was the result. Let's check move. Yep, perfectly neat and lined up along the bottom, which is totally pointless for that spot because you can't see anyway. Alright. So, before I got distracted, I was trying to go back into the house so that I could check the fireplace right here. Yeah, that's tall enough for a fireplace. It didn't look like it would be tall enough from outside, but it'll just have a, you know, the mantle will be about right here. And then this will be the interior, and it'll have a... I don't think I want to do a chimney bit right here. I want the chimney to be entirely outside. So it'll just have the mantle sticking out of the wall, and then maybe a picture up here. Okay. So back down and out so that I can get to work on this. Yes, I did cheat in spots, which... It's really hard to tell unless I'm doing things like ripping apart the house. Okay, so back to chimneys. I think something kind of like this one. Oops, I grabbed the wrong window here. This one. So it's solid down here, and then it comes in just a little bit and then it's got another little lip where it comes up like that. I actually really like that. I think that'll work very nicely because this will be the first floor fireplace, and it'll be much larger because it's a public fireplace. And then this will be the bedroom fireplace, and then that's just the chimney up to the top. It gives it a little more detail instead of just being a giant thing up to here and then having the angles right there. And I like how the base comes around the fireplace, so I need to remember to do that. Need to remember to do that on mine. So I'll get some more of the let's see, is this all the way in? Yeah, so this is all the way in the corner. So I will have to get another, oh, wait. This, no, because the fireplace isn't that wide. So yeah, the fireplace doesn't extend all the way over here, so I will have to get another one to, shoot, it's going to be too wide. I can't do that. I'll have to use something else for the base. I might have to change the foundation of the house. I really don't want to do that because I like how the foundation looks with the well, it's something I'll have to think about. That's something I can worry about later. Alright. So, back to the layout editor. Sorry, click back to the layout editor. This is the location that I wanted. So this one, I'm going to say it's in the crate so that the game knows that it's in the crate. And I'm going to remove from the group. So now I just have the plain fulginate tile in that location. And we're going to save it. Load, save working, go to the game. Load working. And that is the wrong way. Those are, see, the pattern is going vertically instead of horizontally, and I would prefer it to go horizontally. So we get to go back to the layout editor. I'm going to make sure the rotate was technically 0, but since we're changing it to pitch instead of roll, we now have to rotate it 90. Pitch will be 89.94 because pitch is a witch and doesn't accept 90. If you are mathematically, spatially, or otherwise inclined, you might want to look up gimbal lock, which is, I think, why EQ2 has issues with pitch hitting a full 90 degrees, but I could be wrong. Jester was the one who pointed it out to me, so save that. That actually has absolutely nothing to do with decorating, it's just the mechanics behind why pitch doesn't work at 90. Oh shoot, I was not supposed to hit without, I was supposed to hit working. Decorating when tired is bad. That is much better. I like how that looks. Of course, it's in the wrong spot now. So if I'm looking at this, my wall is 0.5 units thick. I think it's approximately 0.5 units thick. So what I want to do here is I'm going to duplicate this, and I want to add the sides in before I start pulling the tile from here outward. Oh, you can't see because I didn't click in the game. Okay, so I was gesturing with the mouse saying I want to put the sides of the fireplace in, or the chimney, excuse me, in, attached to here, before I start pulling the whole thing out this way so that I can see when it lines up in this gap right here, instead of just guessing from pulling this out and saying, oh, well, actually, I kind of know how much I'm going to have to pull it out. It should be approximately 1 point, no, I take it back, 3.5. Yes, 3.5 units. Really tired if you can't tell. Okay, so duplicate that. So now we have the two sides. Each is at scale 2, and because the anchor point of a tile is right here in the center, this distance is 2, and this distance is 2. So to get something from the center, which is where the other tiles will be, to the edge, I have to move it 2 units this way. And then I will also have to move it 2 units west. So first I'm going to move 2 units to the south and 2 units to the west. So let's go with this one. 2 units to the south and 2 units to the west. And this one will be 2 units to the north and 2 units to the west. And they both, well, one of them is going to be rotated 180 and one is going to be rotated 0. But I'm not sure which is which yet. I need to find out by loading it here. Okay, so I did all that. I actually got ahead of myself because I meant to leave them where they were, and then where they were this way, so that the center was still lined up with that tile, but I worked too fast. So, okay. This is the start of my chimney, and I'm trying to look at the corners, but that's not going to work until I actually pull this out. So we're going to select everything in the layout editor, and we're going to say 3.5, and since if we look in game, we are facing east, so that is the direction we want to move it, because we want to move it away from us. Let's go back to the layout editor. We're going to say 3.5 to the east. Save the group. Load it. Okay, 3.5 is actually a little bit much, but I'm not sure I care that much about making sure it's exactly aligned. I might pull it in 0.1 units, just because then the fireplace base isn't too thick. But so we're facing east, so we actually want to pull it west because we're pulling it closer to us. Load working. And that's actually still a little less than I would like. So 0.1 to the west again. Save it. Load working. That's good. That's perfect. It's not touching it, which is fine. I don't really care about that. But it's pulled in about as far as it can go without me switching to really small numbers. So that's actually a really thick fireplace, and I don't like that at all. So we're actually going to double the units. We're going to shrink these tiles down to scale 1, and we're going to use 4 tiles instead of 1 tile for each of these, so that I can cut this space in half. And it's this corner right here, the south corner, that is not the texture is not lined up properly, if you can see that. So the south corner, let's see, I don't remember which one I moved south. South is more positive, so this one is the south one, so it needs to be 180. So if you look, this is negative 43, and this is negative 47. Negative 47 is the one that's further north, because negative 47 is a smaller number than negative 43, as illogical as that seems. That works perfectly. Okay, see? The texture just travels right around the blocks, so it looks like it's one solid object. It's not as, what was I going to say? Oh, I was going to say that the texture being perfect will carry over even when I shrink the tiles, which is why I did it now instead of waiting. So let's start with the plain fulginate tile. Let's type this in here. This is south side, and this is north side. Okay, so this is the center, and we're going to duplicate it 4 times. So duplicate, so now we have 2 in the same location, and then we will duplicate this twice more, so now there are 4 tiles. And I'm just getting rid of the notes there. So I probably should have changed this to scale 1 first, so I don't have to change them all, but oh well. So save it, and you will see the tiles all appear in the game right here. They're all going to be stacked up, just like that. Now that's not the right location. So we need to move it down 1. So we're just going to select all 4, come back to the layout editor, select all 4, make sure our move amount is set to 1, say down 1, save it, load it in game, and we want to say, well, we'll just move them all south 1 for now, because some of them will actually have to move back north, but let's just get started with everything in the right spot before we... Alright, so now 2 of them have to go up, because we need 1 and 2 to fill this space here. So we will pick this one and this one, and they will go up 2, because to get the center from here to here is 1. So here to here, I move the center up 1, it would be halfway overlapping the 2 tiles. So if I want it to go all the way up so the center is right here, it's 1 unit this way and 1 unit this way. So that's 2 units up. So up, up, because I have my numbers set to 1 right now. Go back to the game, load, working, and now we have 2 of them right there. Now we're going to take 2 of them, a top one and a bottom one, and move them north. So here's our layout editor with our 2 top ones. So now we'll select this one as a top one, this one is a bottom one. We want to move them to north. And there we go. So now our single tile at scale 2 has been replaced with 4 tiles at scale 1. The texture is much nicer, and instead of having these 2 giant tiles here, it'll just be 1 right there. So let's go back to the layout editor, and we're going to shrink the south side first. We're going to shrink it to 1. And normally I would do all of the numbers at once and then just load it, because I know what numbers to use, but because I'm showing you guys. Alright, so back to the layout editor. We need to move it to the east 1, and let's move it down 1. So it'll line up in this corner right here. So load working, there we go. And we will do the same thing with this one. We say east 1 and down 1. Good working. And I'm getting lots of text messages from the bow. Okay. I'm pausing to respond to him, and then I will be back to decorating. Okay, back to decorating. So, what we need to do is we need to duplicate these two and then move the duplicated ones up two so that they fill in that gap up there. Why? Oh, there's a line because we're at 89.94, not 90, so the tiles don't line up perfectly. I could go through the math to fix that, but I don't think that it's really worth it since the only time you'd see it is when you're flying, since from below, things like that aren't really visible. So, let me go back to the layout editor, duplicate these. So this one is north side up, and this is south side up. And I know that because this is 43 and the other south side is 43, so they are lined up together. So this is up 2. Save it, go back to the game, load working. There they are. And so now it's hovering away from the wall. So since I shrank it by 2 units, I'm going to move it to the west 2 units. And that actually might be too much. I might need to move it out further. But it's always good to start with right there. Yeah, that's a little too narrow now. So I actually want them to line up with the white tile right here. So we're going to pull it out. I think I pulled it out. I moved it in twice, so it's 0.7 to the east. Because it was 0.5 that I thought it was thickness, and then it turned out to be too much. Oh, no, 0.7 is too much. All right. Oh, I didn't actually type it. I left it at 1. So 0.7 might be it. So we'll do 3 units to the west. Or not 3, 0.3. 3/10 of a unit to the west. Decorating while tired. It's a very hazardous thing. Yeah, okay, that's lined up perfectly. That is perfect. So it just looks like a stone box right now, but that is the start of my fireplace here. Alright, so if we're looking at this, I said I wanted it to come up and in just a little bit. Sorry, just received a tell about the Secret Santa house swap, and let me answer that real quick. Okay, so this is going to be problematic now that I think about it. My calculations are not... So the issue I'm having right here is this is 2 tiles. I want the texture to stay the same throughout the fireplace, which means that, hold on, let me pull up this one again. No, that's not the one I wanted. Okay, I'm looking at the fireplace on the other screen here. So yeah, it would be, I mean, I could put a band right here to separate the different textures, but I really don't want to do that. I prefer to keep the textures the same. So the only way to narrow from this to something smaller once the angled parts are put in, is to either overlap two tiles, which would cause a break in the texture in the center, or to just do one tile. But if you just do one tile, then how are you going to narrow things down for the chimney? That doesn't... Actually, no, just doing one tile would work, because this is only a tiny bit narrower, and it does have the... Oh, you can't see what I'm talking about. Okay. So, this part here is only a tiny bit wider than this part here. So, if I do this as a tile of scale 1, I can then come here and scale it like at 0.8. And yes, the texture will be a little bit different, but there's this part right here that will be a break in between them, and so it'll keep it from looking funny, because you won't be able to see the textures right next to each other. So yeah, this is usually how my decorating goes. I will have an issue, I'll try to figure it out, I will be stuck on it, I will be stupid about it, and then suddenly it'll hit me. Either that, or I'll actually have to pull in someone else to give me advice, which, yes, I still ask other people for advice. Darkzephyr is one of my favorite people to ask, because she has a way of seeing the obvious things that I'm missing, and she has no problems just flat out telling me, maybe you should be doing this instead, because obviously this is not working. So, I can do that. Unfortunately, I am going to have to make a lot more plain fulginate tiles than I expected, because I only have the 15, and already on the fireplace I've used, let's see, 4 for the front and 2 on each side, so that's 8 right there. And as you can see, that's 8 right there. I'm going to need 1 here, 1 here. I'm going to need to do the angled tiles here, and then the single tiles there going up. That's already like all of my tile allowance here, so I'm going to have to go make more. And since I also actually have some people asking for help with stuff, I'm going to pause my stream and go help them. I may see if they don't mind me streaming helping them, or I may just help them in private. It depends on what that help actually turns out to be. Like, I can talk, really, I can. It depends on what they're asking me. Okay, so that is a good start, at least. It doesn't look like much, but I now have a plan firmly in place for what to do with this. So it'll be easy to continue once I finish helping people. Okay. Thank you for watching, and I will be back in a little bit to keep working on this.